feel like I have to sneeze. Nope. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ariana. So I know it's already March, but I wanted to share kind of like my word for 2019 or theme or whatever you want to call it, and kind of like talk about the process and how I get that word and what kind of like significance it has and like why it matters to do that. I honestly think this is like a cool thing to do just in general. So I feel like having like a set word or like a theme for the year gives you something to like come back to. And anytime that you feel stressed out or uncertain, you can always come back to that. So really this word or theme should be something that's meaningful and relevant to kind of like where you are in life right now. To kind of talk about like how I come up with a word, I feel like you already kind of know like where you are in life and maybe some things that you're struggling with, or some things that you want to just be inspired by. And if you don't feel like you know that, definitely take time to reflect. Reflection is huge when you're trying to better yourself, because if you don't know where you're coming from, if you don't know kind of where you're at, it's really hard to know how to get to where you want to be, if that makes sense. So definitely, if you're unsure, just take time and reflect. Grab your journal, grab whatever, some music or whatever it is that you need, and just think back on the year and think about like some of the things that you want to achieve. That's always a great place to start. If you're into meditation, you could do that. Just spending some time where you're quiet and still and with yourself, because nobody else really is going to be able to tell you or know, you know, what's going on in your soul, in your heart, in your mind, you know, all those things. Like only you really know that. I know you've got like close friends who could probably help you if you need that. In addition to that, as a Christian, I also use that time to really pray and seek God and try to hear from him what he's trying to do in my life, because above all, I want to be obedient to that. I want to press into the things that God has. So yeah, that's what I'll like do in my quiet time. I'll have my journal with me, just pray and seek, and it's like a word just like pops up. I feel like you'll like run through a couple different things and like all of a sudden something will resonate with you. Maybe it's something you have heard before, maybe it's something somebody else had talked about as well, but whatever it is, I feel like whenever you hear a word, you're like, wow, that actually kind of encapsulates everything that I'm feeling right now, everything that I feel like I'm going through right now. So yeah, and then once you get that, you just write it down, journal about it, look it up even. Sometimes like looking up the definitions can really be more meaningful than you would think. So yeah, that's pretty much my process and how I do that. It's going to be different for everybody, but maybe that helps you a little bit. So enough talking about that. I'll get into my word for 2019, but just kind of like as a reference or another idea, my word for 2018 was now. I felt like that word really resonated with me because within that year specifically, or the past 2 years, I really struggled with, and I still do, I'm still not great at that, but I really struggle with getting things done or achieving goals. And I had so many ideas, I had so many things that I really wanted to do, but nothing was ever really getting done. So I felt like that year I was really being encouraged and pushed to start somewhere and to just kind of go for it. I feel like God was really trying to show me that I needed to put aside like this ideal of perfection, or things had to be all planned out or figured out before I ever started. And that was kind of like my roadblock that I ran into quite often. So the word now was like a great reminder to any time that I would like want to put something off, anytime I would be unsure or uncertain, I would just be reminded with that word, no, now, not later, now. If it's something that you could do right now, do it now. Like my husband and I even like made it kind of funny too. And anytime I would be like, I don't really want to do that, he'd be like, what's your word for the year again? What's that word? Now? Okay. So yeah, that's what I mean by like it can be something that's like inspiring for you and a good reminder anytime you need that. So let's get into my word for 2019 now. And I used my bullet journal to write it all down and to have a place to, you know, reflect and go back to it. If you saw in my like setting up a new bullet journal, you would have seen that I left a page specifically for like my word for the year. So what ended up sticking out to me was the word constant, and that's the word for this year, for 2019. So after the word now, after 2018, I really, kind of got kick-started with the Recreative, and, started even though I didn't really know where it was gonna go or where I wanted to take it, and I still kind of don't, but I did start, and I actually was relatively consistent, like not really consistent. Maybe that's not a really good word to use, but I feel like I created more and put myself out there and stepped out with that, and I just wanted to do that more. I wanted to be more consistent with that and keep going after that. And so I knew that, that was going to be like kind of the overall theme for this next year. I landed on this word constant. And when I looked up the definitions, which I feel like is a cool thing to do because I feel like God just like speaks within those definitions too. And so when I looked it up, of course it has that meaning of like occurring consistently over a period of time, like continuously happening. So the other definition of that word is like unchanging, like the unchanging variable. That stood out to me too, because I feel like there's a lot of changes that are happening right now and that will happen this year, but I was just reminded that God is my constant through that all, and that He was going to be the one that was faithful through everything, through all the wind blows and the changing tides and all of that. He's always constant. And that just like gave me so much peace. It gave me peace to continue on what I was doing, and always know that He is faithful. And so with the things that I've been given in my hand, like I want to be faithful with that. So yeah, this really kind of has a lot of meaning to me, and I feel like it's definitely something that I'm gonna hold tight to. So in addition to the definition that I wrote, I also put down some Bible verses that really kind of like said exactly what this word was meaning. So yeah, I mean that's my word for this year, and I think it'll be cool to see at the end of it, just reflecting on what that meant throughout the year and how it's like been relevant, because I just feel like it's going to be, because it's like that every year that I have a word or a theme for the year. It seems like that just comes up over and over again. I really encourage you guys to do that too. If you haven't ever done that before, I would just encourage you to try it and see what kind of comes out of it, because if nothing else, you had something that you could hold on to that would encourage you throughout your year and just throughout life. And just having like the habit of reflecting and looking forward and reflecting and then looking forward, it's just a great thing, because it really helps you to be thankful for the past, thankful for what all God's done in the past, and then but also like look ahead and be excited for what's to come. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. I'd love to know if you also have a theme or a word for this year. I'd love to know what it is if you want to share, or just your thoughts about the whole idea, just your thoughts about, coming up with a theme for an entire year. I know that's kind of like daunting, but yeah, I'd love to know. So definitely leave a comment below about that, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.